Hi guys, how are you today? I hope you're doing well wherever you are. Today is the 15th of February 2025. Yes, Valentine's was yesterday. What did you do? Yeah, wamututewa, yakututewa, mwetutewa. I hope you're doing well. Where did you take your car? With which chemicals did you wash your car? Remember we said February we are going to show love to our cars. Yeah, I hope you have done that. And I have quite a number of stories. Of course, you guys remember that Donald Trump has been he has introduced tariffs to make sure that importations into the US are expensive, and apparently that has affected even the local manufacturers, because if, for example, I have to make or assemble this microphone and this foam is imported from somewhere else and introduce a tariff, for example, if we import this from Kenya and introduce a tariff on importations from Kenya, and this entire microphone cannot go without the foam, so I pay extra tax for the foam, that means this microphone is going to be more expensive, and the final consumer is going to pay for that. That will mean the microphone will be more expensive. So if the manufacturers from Kenya, where we're importing the foam, can make microphones like this one at a cheaper price and even get them into our country cheaper, it means the competitors' microphones will be cheaper, and that means mine will be more expensive and people will not be able to buy it. So those are the effects that the Ford CEO is talking about, because there are certain raw materials that they import to make the Ford vehicles. Remember, Ford is an American brand. So some of the raw materials, they import them from Mexico. But Donald Trump introduced tariffs even on things that are imported from Mexico. And that means that Ford is going to have to increase prices. Probably it's going to affect them as a company, as they manufacture their Ford vehicles. Nozotegera how tariffs are starting to affect these people. So he's trying to call on to the government to either reduce or even do away with the tariffs, so that their manufacturing costs are not affected or increased in a bit. So you need to understand that some of these things, yes, I'm a Trump guy, but some of these things, or they should just make sure that they can manufacture these things locally, because they can. But the is raw materials. I'm sure that doesn't affect raw materials. And of course, in Entebbe, thieves raided in Katavi. Thieves raided the parking lot. You guys that keep your cars in parking lots. Of course, now, but they have said 5 motorcycles. These 5 motorcycles. Yeah, 5 motorcycles were stolen. Yeah, and they killed the askari, or the guy that looks after the parking. You know those guys that you give your cars to? They killed a dude about over 40 years, and he has been in the parking lot for a very long time. Parking lot, and he was killed. They took motorcycles. So it's important, and the police is saying, or the local leaders are saying, that the reason why it was very easy for the thieves to steal these cars and even kill a person is because there is a lot of noise around the area. Which is why it's important to note that some residents in Kololo were complaining to KCCA about the bars that are around the residential area. Every time there is a lot of noise, so that's what happened. The guy was killed, motorcycle was taken. So for the guys that are thinking of constructing homes, then again ewange matuga mu kyalo, because it's quiet, mwebaka buli kakona kumpe mukawulira okitegeera. So having an alarm in your car and living in a noisy area where the thief will knock on the alarm and you won't even hear it because there is a bar next door is might actually be disastrous to you as car lovers. So move into neighborhoods that are quiet. It's not only for the peace of mind of you sleeping and all that, but it's also for you to be able to know what is happening in the neighborhood security wise. Edda, I remember as I was growing up, batunyumiza nti abayekeranga bajja. The people used to go under the beds with jerry cans and basins, and then they will drum paka, and then the neighbors would be able to know that now katibatu lumbye. But these days where there is a bar everywhere, even bars that have no patrons, so it's important that as you think of moving or constructing your own home, go to a place that is that may his soul rest in peace. Yeah, and of course in Chisoro on 8th February, that's before you guys decided to show your partners love. There is a truck that lost control and it killed people. Yes, and among the people that died were a 12-year-old bride. 12 years. It's sad. yafudde, and he was seated at the top of the truck. You know those trucks that have sacks and sacks and sacks of stuff? And this particular Fuso truck had sacks of beans, and it lost control. You know, normally that's when it's fatal. And 12 other people died. Now, these 12 people, some of them were coming from a football match. You know how village people can be walking. And it's funny. People in the villages be walking on the road in Gavagamba. Unfortunately, this time the truck, it's a Fuso UBN, yeah. It was loaded with 60 bins of trucks, 60 bags of beans. And so it lost, it failed to brake, and yeah, wait on neighbor. It's something that I've been saying time and again. Every time you're in front of a truck and you're going downhill, if you're going uphill and you're behind the truck, that's one way to keep safe. Trucks, we don't have vehicle inspection in Uganda. I think it's only the tour vans and tour trucks that are subject to inspection. IOV, they check them. But for us, they don't subject us to inspection, which I think we need. So whenever you're behind or in front of a truck respectively, please hide or run for your safety. Anytime. BMW South Africa has a plan to reduce new car prices. How are they planning to do this? So you know that South Africa has a BMW factory. You also know that they have a Mercedes-Benz factory. So that's why you guys have heard your Benz here South Africa, here Germany. They have a Benz and BMW factories. And that's why it's very easy for these boys that have South Africa or create BMWs, not create Benzes, because compared to other markets, they might be cheaper because they are made locally. But now, China has started bringing very cheap vehicles into South Africa and the world over. Electric vehicles are very bad, but they are importing. Now they are bringing electric Chinese vehicles, and some other vehicles are not electric, but they are Chinese that are very good. You have seen these, I don't know, the Sino trucks. And they are cheap. So it's BMW and Mercedes, some of those luxury brands, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Audi, Volkswagen, they are facing a very stiff competition. Now they have to reduce prices to be able to match up. People are running away from luxury vehicles, going into these normal vehicles. And BMW might seem like it's a price thing. It's not really a price thing. People are getting more conscious. They are realizing that a vehicle is luxurious only when you have just bought it. After a couple of months, it's ordinary. So people are running away, and that's why BMW is proposing or it's planning to reduce the prices. How are they planning? You know, every time you import cars, as a big importer or import parts, you get some import credits in South Africa. Now, credits a voucher, gift card from a supermarket. So they have accumulated those import duties. Now they are planning to convert them, but some subsidizing prices. So there are so many things that business people do to make sure that they keep afloat. But globally people are buying less luxury vehicles, and they are buying more vehicles that just fulfill their needs, because eventually and between that time, you guys already know, for the people that love cars, that that's why it's slow to moving through Kampala roads is slow. Northern bypass bagikola, simanye kasubi bakolayo, simanye wabakolayo. I don't know whatever is happening. Pressure, but they are working even in Kabale. They are going to they are on 14th yesterday. President Museveni commissioned a newly constructed road in Kabale. They are doing roads in Pader. They are doing roads in West Nile. Of course, I hope that most of this money is coming from our money, because we pay taxes. And of course, we are praying, hoping yeah, and of course Nekoboko and Yumbe and Moyo bari mukora makubo okitegeera. But of course most of these roads are funded by the World Bank, not by us. Kama tusasire. And in Zimbabwe, a bus collided with a truck. So the bus was attempting to overtake a car, nesangayo chichirole, and just like that. And a lot of people died. 24 people died. It was fatal for 24 people, 65 passengers, bebaba deku bus, and 30 others were very badly injured. It even called President Emerson Mnangagwa. He even came out and made a statement, and he said it was sad, and then he told drivers to practice caution as they drive on the road. It's really bad. And of course, internationally in China, Beijing, Tesla sued a Zhang Yazoo and won. And Tesla has been suing some people in China, a number of them neighbor wangura, eh? And it has not made news so far. They were seated in a car, the father was driving, and the car lost braking power, and the dad nalekana emoroka tesiba in Chinese nalekana emoroka tekolaji tesiba natomere emoroka bade aside. So this lady came out and criticized Tesla openly. Ngabo nogenda ku Facebook oba ku TikTok noga emoroka eno tekyasiba tekola chi. So Tesla went and sued her in court, and it won in a Chinese court near Wangula, and the person was ordered to pay $23,000. Yes, and apparently Tesla has been recorded that blogger bani blogger ba chicken simanyi bani. You talk about someone, they sue you in court, they win. Tesla has been winning a lot of that, and then in China, of course, it's bring about concerns that abantu babulijjo tebabafako corporations ngawanera bwe kibeera. Of course, kati wantosobola kulopa corporation eyo bwe kulopa ate sobola kuwangula because oyinza oba tolina sente zikola ki. But then Tesla is trying to do this to save face. It's getting a lot of criticism. You will see what happened in Kenya recently. Oli agenda nakwata amafuta ga Shell, for example, nagamba amafuta mabi. Shell came out and just said amafuta ga face mabi but tuita mu process ya fair quality control, and Tesla would have sued him and probably it would have won. You know, it's a corporation, it has a lot of lawyers, it has the capacity to say kali jango testing and then if you lose nebakuletera okusasula. So corporations are starting to fight back. Not very good for us because then we'll be silenced, which take it, and it's not a very good thing. And then in Germany, a man rammed into a labor demonstration. We have seen this in the past where people have driven cars into crowds. But in Germany, guy bamwita Farhad Nouri, he was driving a Mini Cooper and he drove into a crowd, and he injured 36 people, including children. And authorities have said this guy has been posting Islamist things on his social media. So they think it's a terrorist attack. But I find that people are depressed, and sometimes and then they decide. So if you're going through something, you should talk to someone. And of course, then it has brought concerns in Germany. Maybe we are allowing a lot of foreigners to just come into immigrants. So they are now talking about working on making it harder to enter Germany as an immigrant. Yeah, but that was bad. If you're going through stuff, instead of driving a car into people or their property, talk to someone. Maybe then you'll get better. And then, of course, the Canada International Auto Show started yesterday, Valentine's, and it's going all the way to 23rd. The Canada Auto Show is one of those big things. We don't have it here in Kampala. Of course, we have something similar, but it's not as big as that. So, and then there's a company, Vietnamese company called VinFast, they call electric vehicles. They are going to show. Of course, they already have some models on Canadian roads in abantu bazivuga. Walwoji baita VF8, VF9. And now they are bringing the VF6 and the VF7. They are models that they are bringing, and they are saying that when they come to the Canada Auto Show, you're going to be able to drive it on the track. They have a track there where you can drive electric vehicles. Yeah? You can be able to experience the exterior, the interior, and also drive the car, know about how it moves. Yeah. So we'll be publishing what happened at the Canada Auto Show next weekend. And then, of course, guys, remember last Saturday we talked about the Nissan Honda merger and how Nissan was almost pulling out because Honda was saying Nissan should be a subsidiary of Honda, and Nissan was saying no, we also have our money. It finally ended. Chaganye. So they just said we are not merging anymore. Nissan can do their thing. Honda, we can do our thing. Chigeda Mazo. And then what does this mean? The merger was meant to strengthen both these companies. But Nissan is going through a very tougher time. Tougher than what Honda is going through. And because the merger is not working out, there is a factory in UK that is definitely going to close because the body teacher called Burunji. But in total, there are 3 factories that are going to be closed down because the merger did not work out. But also Nissan is planning to create a restructure where it can continue working on itself. Of course, we know Nissan is going through trouble. But then Honda, na ye ita mu trouble wadete bana batugamba. So we are vouching for you, Nissan. Go Nissan. And then of course in Oregon, USA, 100 vehicles plus zazene zetomera pa imuruka chikumi. We have never seen it here. I think here the biggest number we have seen was at the northern bypass. Imuruka zari makumi abiri zekuba. But it's because of the snowy condition. Snowy condition in the USA is similar to rainy conditions here. Express over northern bypass. Even your ABS might not be able to help. That's why those guys have winter tires. Kati wanafe we should get rainy tires. Kuba with season government yangirira. President abanaga bana Uganda mutekeko rainy tires. Wachitegera. They don't but dance young they work. I found a drone stuck every day to visit every day say because it's rear wheel drive I think be bad day tonya. So it's more than 100 vehicles that they konye. And normally it's because people overspeed and they don't pay attention. So you guys incubate and so tonya, please go slow. Go slow as much as you can so that you don't get trouble. You know, for the people that don't know, Friday evenings are good Friday evenings. Normally, YouTube, because For the Love of Cars streams as I go through the express every Friday. And yesterday in particular was a sad one. As we were breaking away from Munyonyo joining the Entebbe Express, we witnessed an accident. Now, before the accident itself, a double cabin pickup truck overtook me, speeding. Remember, the stretch from the express to Munyonyo is supposed to be 80 kilometers per hour. This guy was probably doing 140 kilometers per hour. In front, Namsanza Tomedo wa boda, the motorcycle is still under the car. Wa boda afude. It was sad. Now, of course, after the broadcast, I called a few people that I could call to see if these guys got help. But of course, the help was not for the boda guy because they are kaput. But of course, I was scared that the truck would have caught fire because the motorcycle and this is why you guys need to have fire extinguishers in your car. Go buy even the smallest one and put it in. It's like 50,000. Put a fire extinguisher in your car for cases like that, which take it so that your car doesn't catch fire. But also again, guys, please don't overspeed. Don't overspeed because overspeeding, you can kill people. And killing a person while driving a vehicle is one of the worst things you could ever do. Bakusiba, that's murder. Baba bagenda kusiba, it's reckless driving, it's murder, it's all the bad things that could be. So when you're driving on any road, please make sure you respect the traffic rules. Speed limit beberanga ovuga 80 kilometers per hour. Please do 80 kilometers per hour. We gamba do 50 kilometers per hour. Please do 50. For example, this guy yakonyo wa border. Ninga abada speeding. Of course, even border guys are very, very careless with their lives. Nengo wa pick up yabade tatuka nyo yabada sobola okusiba. Nengeri ya mukonye the motorcycle stays under. It's bad. We are not going to show a video or a picture of that, but for the guys that did not watch the broadcast yesterday, please go to yesterday's broadcast. Eriko Entebbe Express at night or something. Go and watch it. You will see it there. It's sad. But may the soul of the border guy rest in peace, and may the family get justice as well. But for the people that have relatives that do borders, please, balwane ko baganda baba chizibu bave kupichi. Get them skills so that they can leave motorcycles, so they can do something else. Borders are not safe at all. The security button versus the tracker. And which one should you go for? Security button, for those that don't know, kabaka pesa bupesa, it's just a button. It's installed in your car and either automatically switches off the fuel when you turn off the engine, or you have to press the button to turn off the fuel in case you're moving away from your car. Now, what this does, it disables the fuel from going to the engine so that someone cannot start it, or even if they start it, it shuts down because of insufficient fuel. The tracker, on the other hand, serves both the purpose of the security button, but it also gives you the capability of seeing your car, where your car is at all times. Now, which one should you go for? If you are driving older vehicles, 5 million, 7 million, 4 million, and obviously normally people that are buying cars below 10 million, they don't have a lot of money to invest in accessories, buy the button. Get it installed by a professional. In the past, we used to install security buttons straight from the fuel wiring, and it was just a button. But those things can burn down cars. So they even install relays and all those things. Now, the security button will cost you between 50 to 150,000 shillings, depending on who is installing it and the process they go through to install it. The tracker, on the other hand, will enable you to turn off the engine from your phone. Normally comes with an app, and you install it on the app and you log in the way you log into your Facebook, and then you can command the tracker to turn off the engine whenever you want, wherever you want, regardless of where you are. But the button makes it possible for you to turn off when you are in the car. And the tracker, you can be in the UK and your car is in Kampala, you turn off the engine. Now, which cars do I normally recommend to take the tracker? If you're driving a car that has cost you more than 10 million, and you value it, trackers will cost you between 350,000 and above. There are people that I've seen that sell cheaper trackers, 200 and 250, but most of the people that I know that are selling genuine trackers that I've tested, 350 and above, including myself. I also sell trackers, so you can come and support me. So anyway, but the tracker gives you also the capability to track in real time, get alerts when the engine is turned on, get alerts when the person overspeeds, get alerts when the person is parking. You get all these alerts. You get an alert when your battery is disconnected and all those things. Now, newer cars like the Harrier 2016, I've had people that say, "You can take a security button, Harrier young new model." There. Put the tracker, put the alarm, and relax. So older cars, put the security button, because majority of the times people that steal these cars, if you say every single way, the newer cars definitely put the tracker. Now, most trackers will ask you to pay an annual subscription to get live notifications, to keep on servers that are good. Internet because servers. The moment you don't pay, you cannot have access to a server that is in real time. You don't want your car to be stolen in track masaka. So that's the comparison I wanted to make. Older cars, tracker. Older cars, button. Newer cars, tracker. This week's tip: should your car overheat or show signs of overheating, please park. Don't try to do anything, just let the vehicle park for an hour. Jiveeko zikiza jireke. Bobo ina jolaga, parking zikiza locking alinya board obasta ita Uber and then go. Park it for an hour if you want to save your car. Because if you don't do it, your vehicle can actually die totally. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Should your car show signs of overheating? For the guys that have vehicles that have analog meters, the analog meter will show you in your rubber. But for the guys that have the ones that have digital, the ones of Butala, Kaburu Naka red, should your car bring the engine check light, bring a blue light or a red light, park immediately and let it park for an hour, cool down, then get coolant and replace. And then, of course, for the guys that have never put coolant in your cars, please buy coolant and put at least 50% coolant. Yeah? And then put 50% water. That means about 2 liters, 3 liters of coolant, and then the rest should be water. The tip is, should your car show signs of overheating, park right away to save your engine. Thank you very much for being part of this week's episode of the Car Weekly Roundup. I'll see you next weekend. Don't drink and drive. Ciao.